Hello, and welcome to the first ever gathering of Brunch with the Boys. My name is Yolo Akili, and I'm here with a distinguished panel of brilliant gentlemen today to have some conversations about some really interesting issues. So before we get started and I introduce everyone, I want to give you a little bit of a sense about what Brunch with the Boys is and where the idea came out of. Brunch with the Boys really is an idea that came out of my brunches with my bestie. And my bestie is actually in this gathering right now, but I'm not going to call him out or nothing like that. But I love everybody. But basically, Sunday brunches with my bestie for a long time were one of the few times during the week that I was able to really let loose and kind of have critical but also fun conversations that felt whole, that felt full. And so when I was thinking about what I wanted to do next in terms of bringing something to the Black queer, Black gay, or just men of color universe, I thought about how awesome it would be to try to bring that spirit of that brunch to a broader audience. And so from that, I came up with this idea of Brunch with the Boys, which is really a conversation between all these amazing men of color about things that we normally don't hear a lot about, or just come from perspectives that you may not normally engage. And so what will happen is that from now on, every first and third Sunday, we will post a video which will feature a cadre of a different cast. It'll change from time to time, but it'll be a cadre of men of color talking about different issues and different topics, and of course having fun and being ridiculous a little bit. So if you want to learn more about it, you can also visit us on brunchwiththeboys.org. You can also follow us on Twitter at brunchwtheboys. And also if you want to tweet about anything, you can also use our hashtag, which is hashtag BWTB, or you can just do hashtag brunchwiththeboys if you want to have a conversation about what we're talking about and engage us. All right? So let me begin by introducing all of these shady queens. No, I'm just kidding. They're not shady queens. All right. So first off, I want to begin by introducing Eddie Noku. Eddie. Hey, Eddie. So Eddie is out of Ottawa, Canada. He is a transnational socialite, which is kind of a little bit of a shady read. He's like, all of y'all are real local, but I'm trans. And I want to let you know that he got his bio. He wanted me to make sure I said that. He was like, yeah, girl, I'm transnational, like, best in Mookie them out. Like, I'm clearly on another level. So Eddie is a transnational socialite. He's a multidisciplinary designer, calls himself a fledgling activist and intellectual. He serves as a contributing editor for the Feminist Wire, where he writes about disability, representation, and he's currently finishing his Bachelor of Arts degree at Carleton University in Ottawa. Give him some love, yay! And
my own hype man.
And so when Eddie isn't studying or writing, he's reading Vogue and hobnobbing with friends in search of the best martinis and mojitos. All right now, so Eddie, thank you so much, Eddie, for being here. I'm happy to have you a part of this.
I'm happy to be here, and thank you for having me, Yolo.
Awesome. All right. Next, we have a a person who always sends me very shady text messages and gifts, and is always being really like, I just don't feel safe all the time from the reads with this girl, but I love her.
Oh my God.
So the next person I want to introduce to you is Chase Simmons. Everybody say hi, Chase.
Hi.
So Chase Simmons is out of Atlanta. He is a director, photographer, and just a brilliant, funny person. Chase is the creator of Dear Dad, Letters from Same-Gender Loving Sons, which is a documentary you might have heard of. It's actually a really good documentary, even though I wasn't asked to be in it. It's still managed to be okay. Still managed to be okay. I'm not salty. But it's a good documentary, even without me. But yes, so Chade is an amazing person who I adore. He's very brilliant and just like director of photography, and he also is just very witty, which I'm sure you will see because he will have many interesting things to say. I'm very sure. So everybody, thank you, Chase, for being here. I appreciate you being a part.
Yay. Thank you. I'm excited.
Next, we have Kenyon Farrow. Say hi, Kenyon.
Hey, everybody.
So Kenyon Farrow, he's a professional stunt queen living out of the District of Columbia. His stunts and writings have been featured on MediaTakeout.com, my so-called ButchQueenLife.com, and much more.
Wow.
She went there.
All the way there.
We're being honest and authentic, right? That's what's happening. We're being honest and authentic, Kenyon. We're telling the truth. No, I'm just being silly. I'm being silly. But Kenyon is a writer and activist. He's the former executive director of Queers for Economic Justice. He's been a longtime organizer and is also the co-editor of the book Letters from Young Activists. He's also just an amazing, brilliant person who, despite how brilliant he is actually a little ratchet, just a little bit.
A lot ratchet.
Which I'm sure you will see. And he's a very good friend of mine, and I'm sure that many of his groupies will be watching this and probably sending me hate mail afterwards because they can't take it. But that's Kenyon Farrell. Thank you, Kenyon, for being here. It means a lot to have you a part of the conversation, as always.
Dope.
So a few more things I want to set up to make sure we get us set up. Sometimes, even though I love all these men, all the men that are going to be on here are going to be amazing. All the people who are going to be on here are going to be amazing. At times the girls carry, and I don't know if you know what carry means. Anybody can define what carry means when the girls carry? Maybe anybody have a good definition of what that is?
I can give a quick, Carrie, as I think the oldest queen here, comes originally from carry on, like saying somebody, you're just carrying on, you're doing too much, right? And, so if you're saying that the girls are carrying, you're just doing too much, you've overstepped boundaries, you're cutting up, doing the most.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Kenyon, and thank you also for making it clear that I'm the youngest person here. So Carrie,
I don't even know did somebody say that? I didn't say that.
So in the spirit of acknowledging at times, people will carry on this, and we'll of course get into funny conversation. I have what I call the shade stone, and this is a piece of amethyst. I'm not sure if you all are familiar with amethyst, but amethyst is a crystal, and it's known for helping to release negative vibrations or shady vibrations. So at times when the girls start to carry, I'm going to put the stone up and wave it up, and it'll help clear up some of the funk, the shade, all that kind of stuff that we kind of got going on. You know what I mean? So whenever you see the shade stone, the girls are doing too much, and we need to bring it back to a space of peace and compassion, or just wait until we get offline so we can tell the real truth, basically. That is the shade stone. The other thing that I want to give you a sense of to know what's happening is that in order to make sure we keep our time together, to make sure we don't go over and start talking really just out of context and just out of whack, I have Eddie, who has his very decorative straw. You want to tell us a little bit about the straw, Eddie, about the history and legacy of this
Yes, this is a straw that I got for my birthday. Otherwise known as the magic stick, or for the purposes of our gathering today, the talking stick. But it's got a very interesting shape, as you can see.
What is that shape, Eddie? I'm very curious.
This is the shape of a phallus. It's a penis straw.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's kind of gay, Eddie. I know it's kind of queer.
It is pretty gay. It is. I know. I'm sorry. It is.
I don't know if I told everyone, but I was kind of hoping for this to be really, I was only hoping for heterosexual brothers in here today. I was just...
Please. I know this side eye from Chase.
But yeah, it's I've got several of these, and they come in multiple colors.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
So Eddie will be waving the magic stick. Eddie will be waving the magic stick when to notify us when we have gotten, a little bit over time, or we're just kind of going off schedule. And so so if you see him waving that, don't think that oh my God, why is there a big penis straw? What's happening? I just want to give you some context about what's happening. Why he's waving that across the screen.
Oh, that's great.
All right. So now that you kind of introduced yourselves, actually I haven't introduced myself, but I'm Yolo. I forgot to say that. I am going to be mostly the host and the moderator. I'm a writer, counselor, yoga teacher, poet, many things to many different people. I just enjoy creating spaces for all of us to kind of engage and have authentic and loving conversations, which is what this is today. Hopefully. If it's not, it doesn't get too shady, I have to pull up the stone and get the girls together. So since it's brunch, I try to invite everyone to see what everybody's eating this morning. So I'm curious. So let's just go around and see, what does everybody have for brunch? Some people have for brunch, shot of vodka, you know what I mean? Like, they might have for breakfast, they might have a Red Bull, you know what I mean? I don't, people have different things. So let's just go around and start. I'll start with Chase. Chase, what are you having for brunch today?
I have some homemade alkaline water, and I had a couple of bananas earlier, but I couldn't wait for you guys. I was too hungry, so I'm drinking my alkaline water that's homemade and cheap.
All right, for the alkaline water, homemade. I love it. I love it. Cool. Thank you. And Eddie, what do you have for brunch this morning?
So last night I had a couple of glasses of red wine, which is fabulous. But of course, so this meant that my appetite's not that great this morning. So I have candy. I don't know if I'm making it worse, but yeah, I've got candy.
What kind of candy you have? What kind of candy?
It's one of the sour ones. Like, it's over here. I can't really grab it, but yeah. It will flash before you.
Hello in the background.
There we go. Magic hand, but yeah, I've got candy, the sour one. So yeah.
Oh, so sour. Okay, no.
Yeah.
I was gonna make a reference to the Beyonce "Blow" song, but I don't want to be that gay this early in the morning, so never mind.
I want you to.
I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. It was too easy. All right, Kenyon, what are you having this morning?
Well, I started out my morning very healthy with some yogurt with like blackberries, blueberries, and raspberries and granola. And I am finishing off with some orange juice that includes some vodka.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a moment here with Brunch and the Boys.
Nice. So some berries and some. I heard berries and juice. Is that what I heard? Berries and juice.
Juices and berries.
Was like a yogurt and granola with berries, right? And then a screwdriver.
Oh. Well, girl, hold up now. You started off real, like, organic and granola. It's like
Vodka is organic. Vodka
it's
comes
true,
from
right?
the earth.
Right, made from the, most, organically grown
Grains.
vodkas. Yes,
Yeah.
grains and things. Potatoes. That's what vodka's made of, right? Potatoes.
Nice. I don't know if I've never heard anybody quite try to say that vodka's made from potatoes, and that counts for something. But I'm gonna let you have that. That's cute. That's cute though.
Take it.
Love it. So for brunch, I actually had some I had like some scrambled eggs with like peppers and snap peas and all this stuff in it. I can't show you an image of that because I devoured that before this. It's not going to be a cute image. I'm gonna be like, oh girl, like, so you can't see that. But I'm having some Pinot Grigio that I'm sipping on as we're watching. I didn't have any orange juice this morning. I went to go to the store and get some orange juice, and I was like, oh God, I ran out of time. So that is what I was nibbling on earlier. Well, never mind. That's what I was eating earlier. And this is what I'm drinking now.
Yes.
All right.
Just a mess.
So today's conversation, I wanted us to talk about men who have loved us and supported us in our lives. So the topic is "He loved me back to life," and the basic theme was, a lot of times we sometimes we don't always focus on the amazing kind of stories of love, affection, and support that we receive from other black men in a variety of ways. So like, the ways in which black men as friends, as relatives, all these ways in which we receive love that don't always get kind of highlighted. And so one of the things I wanted to do and talk to the guys here about doing is having a conversation about where we're sharing stories about a time when a black man loved us back to life, a time when a friend, a relative just looked out for us when we didn't have anything, or just kind of gave us a new perspective on life, maybe helped us when we needed either money or we had a flat tire, or maybe just took us on an adventure to help us see something in a different way. Because one of the things Brunch with the Boys is about, it's about really kind of honoring and celebrating all of the brilliant messiness that is who we are as men of color. And I thought that would be a really awesome thing to start off with. So in that spirit, unless anybody has changed their mind, I'm going to go first. Anybody change their mind? Feeling froggy? Want to jump?
Go ahead, boo.
Go ahead,
It's you, boo, right.
Girls always putting you on the chopping block, girl. They just waited for you to go. So I want to share a story about a time with a special man who really really was there for me at a time in which I didn't and in which I really needed someone. And this person is currently was my last relationship, and I actually met this person. Okay, if I start tearing up and my mascara starts running out, it's cut the feed. Cut the feed. Okay.
Get it together.
No, but I met this man like literally at a time in which I really felt like worthless. I mean, like there was a time in my life when a lot of decisions didn't seem very clear, and even though I think in some ways my public career seemed like, kind of together privately and emotionally, I was not in a good place. I was very depressed because I felt like I didn't know who I was in a certain sense, and I also didn't feel like who I was valuable, that it meant anything to anybody. And that showed up in a number of ways in my life. It showed up economically in my life with not having any not having any money to support myself. It showed up emotionally in terms of just like not being, just being heavy and having a hard time. And so I met this man, and despite it was a romantic relationship, but there is something about the way in which he took me in, because he took me in and took care of me, and there was never a spirit of judgment. I never felt judged for being in the place that I was in. I didn't have anything. I was also really depressed, and like literally, there were some days like you all, like I would just sit on the couch and I would just like I couldn't even move. I felt so weighted down. But it was his love and support and his encouragement at that time. Sometimes it was just kind of just being present and just being there. Like sometimes just sitting up with me, or sometimes just pushing me to write, to believe in myself. It kept me alive. Like it really kept me alive during that time. And people always talk about like when you date someone who either makes more money than you or someone who is older than you, there's all these power dynamics. But those power dynamics weren't present in our relationship. He was really intentional with like caring for making sure that I was okay, and that seemed to take a priority over me getting me to perform for him in a relationship in some kind of way or getting me to be something. It was more about he really kind of just loving me and taking care of me. And so I really want to dedicate this like he loved me back to life to him, and also just to just the spirit of like non-judgment, to like the spirit of like someone who really like takes you in and like doesn't come in with all these critiques about who you should be and where you should be and you are this, etc. But was able to really hold me and like where I was, despite the fact that didn't hold up without people perceiving me, And so that he's someone I'm always going to love, and it's always going to be what we share will always matter in terms of my development, because it really did teach me that I have value and that I mattered. He was the person who told me that my writing mattered. He was the person that taught me that I need to ask for money for what I am working and doing, And through his example, I really learned on a different level what it meant to be loved. And so I just want to say thank you to him for his support and his caring.
Oh dear.
Wow.
Oh God.
You guys are so serious.
Oh goodness. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was so. God, you have such this power. Gosh. Why don't you just take over Barbara Walters' job?
Yes.
Go on TV and make people cry, YOLO. Jeez. Man. Well, I don't even know what to say. I have a story too, it's different. It's actually a different story than maybe the one I think we talked about earlier, but I think that what you just said inspired me to tell a different story. I met a friend that is one of my closest friends now about 2 or 3 years ago, and it was right when I was pretty unsure about my future at the time. I was working in HIV prevention, and I was happy with it, and I felt content. But there was a lot of other things that I really, really wanted to do. And he was in college at the time. He was just really cool, and we just connected and started hanging out. And he was also into film as well. And he really was just so, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I would say, oh, I really wish I could do this. He was like, just do it. And I'd be like, well, I can't just, he'd be like, just do it. Let's do it tomorrow. Let's do it today. And I would be like, why is this so, like, what do you mean? I can't do it tomorrow. We can't do it. Why not? Let's just do it tomorrow. Go get your camera. We'll do it tomorrow. And I'd be like, okay. And then we would do it. And it would turn out great. And it would be awesome. And really and truly, I didn't think about it until, sometime this year. I really can't, like, a lot of the things that I've done in the last couple of years, I have to say that he had a lot to do with that. It was sort of like a creative reawakening. What I think happened was that sometimes when you get, like, a job and it takes, like, all day and you have a passion, as soon as you get home, child, who cares? I want a nap, several glasses of wine, and some old nasty Chinese takeout, and I'm just going to bed. I am tired, But yeah. I think I fell into that a little bit. And meeting him reminded me that no, like, there's work to be done, there's projects to do, there's ideas to come up with. And he really was sort of the catalyst for this creative reawakening for me. Like, he really just started pushing me, and it would get on my nerves, to be honest with you. Like, I would be like, listen, it is Saturday, I'm about to not wake up, I'm going to lay around, and he'd be like, no, we're going to go do this, we're going to do that. And it just really and truly, he was just really awesome. And a lot of the things, like, especially with Dear Dad, he's the one who actually encouraged me to do, like, a Kickstarter to raise funds for it, because I was broke, and I didn't know how I was going to get that thing edited. I didn't know how I was going to get a lot of that stuff done. He was like, why don't you do a Kickstarter? And I was like, I can't do a Kickstarter. I would never raise the money. And he was like, why are you being stupid? Just do it. Just do it. And I'd be like, oh, my God. And I did it, and, of course, we raised the money, and everything happened. But when I thought about your sort of Love Me Back to Life, like, but in a different way, like, it was just kind of like he was this ball of energy that just sort of flew into my life and just started, like, burning me everywhere and trying to get me to move and do stuff. And it was just like, we just have a really powerful friendship from that. And I just really, really, really appreciate him for being there and just being, I won't say the thorn in my side, but he's just like that little reminder, did you do this? Did you edit this? Why don't you do that? Why haven't you done this? And it's like, it really keeps me pushing and makes me want to do my passion constantly. It used to be something that I did, after work, and now it's something that I do for work. And it's him that really pushed me to do that stuff. So.
Oh,
that is heartwarming.
It's so pretty. Oh, that's beautiful. He loves you back to life. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that story. That's amazing.
That's special.
It's true. I can really relate to that. I feel like I'm very recently seeing somebody who is kind of doing some similar stuff for me in terms of pushing me to think about my creativity and stuff, right, being moved to do so. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. Y'all not going to get that tea.
Oh, that's great.
I was like on the edge of my seat.
I thought I was getting the tea, honey. I thought I was going to get the tea, honey.
Y'all not getting that tea today.
A mess. A mess.
But on some real stuff, my story, begins, several years ago when I was, a young queen, innocent and, full of vitality.
The lies.
I know, right? I can't ever say I was ever innocent, like ever, really. But but in any case, no, seriously, when I went to college, to undergrad, I started undergrad in 1993, so 21 years ago, and just to kind of think about like that moment. So I was, from Cleveland, went away to school, still in Ohio. But it was the first time I really, I was already like beginning to develop myself, like kind of politically, and I was really searching for a kind of community, particularly among Black men, that felt like, like I was okay, both as like, somebody who had a certain kind of like, politics around being Black, and also a certain kind of, just politics developing as a gay man, gay young man, and and so at that time, in the kind of early, mid '90s, like, in the U.S., the sort of like the political Black people were like pretty much only like, or the visible kind of political Black people were only like Black nationalists, like of the kind of like, Nation of Islam sort, right? And that shit never really was going, it just was not going to work for me, obviously, being a fag. And so, although some girls try, I'm not gonna read nobody. You might need to raise the amethyst, because that was almost.
Well, that was. Let me go ahead. Let me do this real quick.
Right. No, but seriously. So when I went to school, I went to a small liberal arts school in Ohio, and met a group of other students, in this case particularly Black men who were from various parts of Africa, who I became very close to, and in many ways really embraced me in ways that I didn't actually really get from the broader kind of like other kind of African American Black men on my campus, right? Who I feel like there was this sort of question about like, what, kind of what's the deal? And, and even though my other, friends who were from, everywhere from, Kenya, Ethiopia, Tanzania, South Africa, Zimbabwe, all Nigeria, all these places, there was still like a space for me to be me in that community of folks. I found one of the things that was really kind of refreshing to me was, and I remember being very struck by it, having, grown up with cousins and uncles and even other Black male friends or whatever, the being able to kind of like, hug each other or be embraced, like a certain kind of physicality that was like missing in the African American community among men that I grew up with, was present among African men that I found, and also an ability to also talk about, on one level, like, we could party, drink, DJ, we would do all these, like have so much fun. And then talk about like politics, what was happening. This was when, the South African, the first, election post-apartheid happened in '94, and really like do all of those things at the same time, right? And so, and then also talk about like, we woke up in the morning and there were like, literally like if the sun was out, if it was warm, if there were flowers, to have like Black men talk about like the beauty of that, right, was like some new shit to me, right? I had never experienced that before. And so, I really, it really changed my life. And I say to this day, and many of those men I'm still in touch with. One of them died about 10 years ago. But really, really loved me back to life, and I think really helped me feel very grounded, that there was no kind of challenge to my Blackness to be gay. There was no you know, my being kind of a black person born in America did not make me less African. That, you know, all of these sort of things kind of came together for me, and I think really kind of helped shape, you know, where I would sort of develop both as a person in my kind of queerness and my like kind of, you know, black identity and the political work I would do. And so, you know, I think about that period a lot as really transformative.
Oh, so beautiful.
That's incredible. I think that actually is such a great segue into my story. And as a young South African man, queer crip femme man, living here in Canada, I think for me, I had a similar experience in terms of reaching out to a group of Black African men who really embraced me. And and so that's sort of like where my story begins. About 2 summers ago, a really dear friend of mine, a young woman by the name of Noella, she's from the Congo, and she was also an international student here at Carleton. She had heart problems, and she had to undergo a heart transplant.
Wow.
And she was 18 years old. At the time, we were both in our second year. And it was an incredibly emotional journey for everyone, her family, her friends, the entire school. We kind of mobilized the students to sort of, you know, chip in financially where we could. We went to visit her in the hospital, and we thought that Noella was getting better. We did. For many months, you know, once a week I'd go see her, and I met her family, and they were all such really wonderful people. But in the summer of 2012, Noella passed away unexpectedly. Um, and it was, needless to say, a very difficult moment for everyone. Um, and I was really close to her family because I'd been visiting her for so long, for so many months. And I wasn't sure if I was going to make the funeral. It was, you know, 6 hours away from where I am now, 6 hours out of town, and you know, it was very unexpected. And usually, wherever it's usually such a mission for me to go anywhere because I need physical care. I need a caregiver to come with me because of my physical disability, and so none of the attendants that were on duty were available to come with me for the weekend. And so, you know, I, you know, was talking to the family. I'm like, I don't think I can make it. And I really, really wanted to be there to say goodbye to her. And a really good friend of Noella's, and actually a friend of mine, you know, he had been coordinating all the hospital visits and everything. And he was a student leader here on campus. And he's from Ghana. And he said, I will take care of you. Pack your bags right now. We're going. I'll drive you. Oh.
Yeah.
All right, baby.
And he basically took care of me the weekend, and he picked me up. He did the transfers. And no, I actually slept in Noella's room the night before the service, and Noella's brothers, they got me up in the morning, they washed me, they got me dressed, they did all of that, and I had never in my life experienced such, I guess it's just so indescribable, the love, just the affection that I felt from these men, these Black men, these African men. Um, they loved me. In that moment, I felt Noella's spirit cover all of us. And it was such a, probably one of the greatest moments of my entire life. And I think about them so fondly, and they love me, and they still love me. And, you know, I'm the queer disabled kid, and they love me. not even in spite of, but perhaps even because of all of it. And so,
Sure.
yeah.
Hey, honey.
Shay. Wow, it's
Oh,
beautiful.
Lord.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Eddie, for sharing. Thank you all for sharing. That's really powerful. Very powerful stories. I feel like we just need to take a moment to just breathe it all
Take
in,
a
right?
moment.
While y'all breathe, I'm gonna
Got to
refresh this
breathe.
drink.
Oh, you know what? You see this one? You can't do nothing with that. You see this one?
Put the vodka down.
We're gonna, but
Yes,
no, that,
Ken, yes.
I can't with him, honey. You know, I love him, but he's No, thank you all for sharing those stories. This is so wow, just so beautiful and just kind of reflective. I think all the ways that we love each other and care for each other as black men and support each other.
And can I just say that I'm so grateful for this space, that I have an opportunity to be vulnerable amongst all of you here. Um, you know, as the youngest queen, I gotta say that I am also. I'm gonna claim my spot. I'm gonna claim my spot. So. No, it means so much, and I've looked up to each and every single one of you, and all of you, your lives, you inspire me so much, and I hope that I can be, half the man that you are. And so just thank you for the space and for just, yeah, being my fairy godmothers.
Indeed.
Well, and being the second youngest here, I was kidding.
The delusion.
Lies. That's right. The lies you tell, girl.
What you say? What? Let me hold on. That's what needs to happen right now. What needs to happen right now? We need some of this action right now because there's a little bit of something going on. A little shade off my screen. Let me get it off.
Polish the screen, boo. Polish it.
Right.
Polish it up. Little shade. No, I just want to say thank you to each of you for coming on and sharing your stories. I mean, I think we need to hear more stories like this, right? We need to hear the stories about the ways in which we as black men support each other across sexual orientation lines, like with your story, Kenyon, about being around these black men who were heterosexual, who supported you and loved you who you were. And the same thing with your story, like these brothers, these men who came and looked out for you and took care of you, And Chasing, your story about like the creative spark, somebody telling you to get up and let's go and let's embrace your potential and fulfill that,
Yeah.
Those are the stories we can do it a lot. We can do to hear a lot more of those stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
A lot more of those stories. So yeah, I just want to say thank you all for being willing and open to sharing your stories with the audience, with me, and sharing it in this space. It means a lot to me. You all mean a lot to me, and this is even a new story I can add to that because now I feel like each of you have loved me back to life by sharing these stories. So I even feel like it's come full circle in a certain way, right?
Indeed.
So yeah, so for all of you watching, I want to make sure that you participate in this as well. So I want you to make sure you take some time today, or tomorrow, or whenever you have time, to really think about a time in which a black man loved you back to life. Not only reflect on these stories, but reflect on all the stories you have in your life, because you've had some stories. When a black man was there for you, loved you, supported you. It could have been a friend, the Kiki, whoever or wherever that showed up. I want to invite you all who are watching to take some time and reflect on that, and let that sit in your heart, let that sit in your spirit, and just hold that. Don't rush away from it, but just feel it, because there's something beautiful and powerful and magical that's in there, just like what happened today, like what I feel like we'll share today. It was beautiful, powerful, and magical. So, any thoughts or perspectives? Anybody want to ask any questions to anybody about their stories? I know we had like a lot of sharing. I'm just curious if anybody had any thoughts.
I'll just think it's I'm so happy after hearing everybody's story that, I feel like if I, if Facebook or Twitter were any, indication, I just feel like, and I understand that, like, black men, whether queer, straight, whatever, we got a lot of shit with us, but I feel like all I see is like from every turn of late, like how fucked up we are. Do you know what I mean? Like, and how we don't do this, we don't do that, we don't support each other, we don't support other folks, all this other stuff. And I think that there's obviously some stuff that like black men need to kind of work on, develop a range of things that kind of need to happen. But I think, it's really important to me that I think we also talk about like the ways in which we show up for each other and love each other. And so this to me feels like a really important kind of intervention in what I feel like is the kind of current state of the way we're talked about, like even amongst like quote unquote progressives, right? I feel like this is like what I just see all the time. So thank you all.
It's beautiful.
Any other closing thoughts? Questions?
I don't know. You guys just gave me a warm feel inside. I'm all mushy. I want to call my friends and hug them and
Call them.
buy them some cocktails and get all mushy.
I don't really have any other thoughts. I just wanted an opportunity to wave this again.
All right. We are at the straw. The straw has been waved, honey. The straw has been waved. It has been waved. The magic stick is in the air, darling. So, with that being said, with Eddie waving his magic stick, we're going to conclude this first inaugural gathering of Brunch with the Boys, the first of many to come. I want to invite you all to join us by visiting brunchwiththeboys.org. You can learn more about each of the individual men here, but also contribute to the conversation by using the hashtag on Twitter, which is BWTB. You can also look underneath this video, which will tell you when we will be available tweeting live with the BWTB hashtag to have a conversation about this video. And hopefully you'll share with us that time when black men loved you back to life, because we really want to hear that story. So once again, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you found this video and this conversation nourishing and soul nourishing and loving, and I hope you are finding that love and celebrating those people who love you back to life in your life. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you all, and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.